Hello everyone, this is Zoltar and welcome back to our third Offworld trading company Expansive campaign. Things have been going reasonably well so far. We finished up 3 rounds, and well, we're third in stock price. Only about 50 cents behind the leader. That's not too bad at all, especially because as long as we're in the top 4, we will at minimum make it into the final round. It's just that a higher stock price makes that round a bit easier. Now, for our labor pool, we don't have a large number of particularly impressive things. However, we do have things we can go ahead and use. For example, we're not going to go wrong grabbing up a steel mill engineer, bumping our steel production up to that standard 0.5 per -1 iron. Could grab a patent lab. Not really feeling it though. The rounds generally don't seem to last long enough to make a patent lab particularly useful. While there are some details you could eke out of it, at times it just doesn't quite seem like it's necessary. On the other hand, a hacker array I think we could definitely make some use of. So I'm going to go ahead and grab up one of those, and I'm also quite tempted to grab an electronics factory, as we already have an electronics factory engineer available. If we grab this other electronics factory engineer, then we'll be able to have reasonable electronics production for when that gets particularly expensive. However, I could also just hold the funds. I could hold the 800,000 funds. I could wait for next round and see if I can get something like an off-world market, if I can actually finally get a glass furnace engineer, things of that sort. So I think that's what I'm actually going to do with this last little bit of money. Okay, we are into elimination rounds, by the way, so I need to be careful with my stock price. I can't let it fall too low, because if I do have the least stock price, the lowest stock price of all the remaining players, I will be eliminated. So I have to be careful about that. We could get another free solar panel or an extra claim. I'm kind of tempted by the free solar panel because we already have a free solar panel. We can just be like, bam, double solar panel, deal with it. I could be okay with that. It's alright, let's do it, let's try it. We also go up against Epsilon Espionage Corps here, which is kind of frustrating. They have a large number of black market effects they can use against us, and they also receive chems when upgrading their HQ, so arguably the more difficult person to be against in some ways. However, that said, I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay. I think we can handle it. So let's go ahead and get started.
High levels of water.
Alright, 2 opponents this time.
Ooh, a geothermal
Another guy also joined in on this mission. A lot of water. That's useful given what our general game plan is. Good to know about. We need to find some iron and some aluminum, of course, as per usual.
Low levels of carbon found.
But this water plot could be very useful. That water plot's kind of okay. There's potentially more water right there. Okay. Really need some iron and or aluminum. Iron or aluminum. That's all I'm after.
Medium
Over here.
levels of
Okay, we found some aluminum there.
Low levels of silicon.
Keep poking around. There's silicon up there. There's probably silicon over here. But we really just need to keep on that hunt for iron. Okay, there's aluminum. What about right here? Big plot of water. Okay, this is probably mostly silicon, but we'll reveal it anyway. Nope, some water and then silicon. All right. Keep checking around. We got to find iron before we can plant down a base.
Medium levels of iron found.
Okay, well, I mean, that's some iron. It's not good iron, but we can use it if we have to. And we might. Okay, that's a little better.
Expansive colony founded.
Expansive colony founded where? Oh, down right next to all that water, of course. That's where an expansive colony would found. All right.
Medium levels of silicon.
There was decent aluminum down there. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to grab up all this aluminum. I'm going to grab these iron tiles.
High levels
I'm going to grab
found.
these aluminum tiles if I can pull it off. I'm just going to buy all that steel I need to upgrade. Which unfortunately is a bit more expensive than I would really like. But hopefully we'll eventually get off the ground here. Obviously it's not a good start at all, right? Hopefully we can grab this water, things like that. Hopefully, you know, we secured this aluminum and that's important. We'll actually sell off a bit just to grab up some steel. Actually, how much can I can't really afford to sell too much steel to push into this house, as much as I would like to get to this house. I would need a house and a leisure building in order to keep the population growing, so I'm just going to choose not to worry about it too much. This iron production is good, but it's very far away because I chose to plant closer to the water and silicon and aluminum that I was next to. So our iron is a fair distance away, but hopefully everything else being closer will help make up for that. There is an upgrade.
All-time high.
We'll grab this close water. We'll grab this close silicon. Even though silicon's not necessarily all that important. Actually, let's cancel the silicon. Forget the silicon. Electrolysis reactor engineer could be solid.
6,000, 10,000.
And then we're just going to need a bunch of steel production, I think.
14,000.
We'll push to 22. That's how high we'll go for this. 22. It's pretty expensive, but debt's not going to kill us. We just have to pay it off eventually, hopefully. So we'll try it. We know electrolysis reactors are probably going to be useful this game. No robots. Resources positioned quite far away from bases. So hopefully it'll work out all right. We do have a power surge available. Something to think about is the fact that we do have that power surge available, but we don't necessarily have to use it. We could buy a house, just to buy a house. Aluminum's pretty cheap. We're waiting on iron anyway in order to get up this steel production, in order to actually make steel eventually. So we'll just do this. Get that house built. Maybe get to a leisure building before too long. We only need 40 chems to make it happen. Obviously we want this water pumped first. As soon as we've got the resources available for it, we're going to get the water pump down. Not going to buy another house right away. Houses are cheaper, but we want the colony to grow. That's the big concern. So we'll just probably sell off iron as it comes on in and upgrade to this leisure building. And then worry about everything else we have to do this game. Let's sell off iron and steel, actually, both of them, just to get to this leisure building very, very quickly. There it is. The rest of our cash can go ahead and move into glass. That should work out quite nicely. We're just going to stick to this game plan. I see no reason to deviate for it as long as it's working as well as it is. Where we just increase that water consumption that the colony is putting on. We get a lot of water gathered up for ourselves. We get some water production established as necessary. Go ahead and do this now. Just to be on the safe side. And then we just go from there. Okay, Scavenger made it to level 2. He's also throwing down water stuff. All of them throwing down water stuff this game. Shouldn't be any real surprise. Water stuff is good. People like water stuff. Makes a lot of sense to throw it down. And especially because I've already bought into housing and leisure, that increases the water that the colony is consuming. Water is going to stay fairly expensive. Water resources are always good when the colony is consuming them. So, totally reasonable. We could push for an extra claim. I don't know if that's necessary, though. I really just want to upgrade fairly quickly. I guess we'll go for the claim. The claim is fine. It's not necessary, maybe, but it's still potentially good. A house wouldn't be bad either. Cost us aluminum and some cash. Not too big a deal. And we'll just keep waiting for that steel to come back in for a next upgrade. We do need to start making money before long is definitely a concern. Hacker Array Coder. Well, we already have access to the Hacker Array. I'm not so concerned about the Coder. But hopefully these two just fight each other enough to drive that price high.
8,000, 10.
Computers sometimes do that with engineers. It's nice to have two computers in the game because they'll kind of drive the price up themselves to what they think things are worth. Unfortunately, that went super cheap. I was hoping it would go higher. But computers don't really know how to value engineers, from what I can tell. They just can't do it for whatever reason. They just legitimately can't do it. And so they'll sometimes drive the engineer prices insane, and that can create very awkward situations. Now, we're consuming a huge amount of fuel, adding a lot to our debt through that. We're going to need an extra solar panel as well, things to think about, but we can go ahead and upgrade and start on these things relatively soon. Just a reactor,
The shareholders will love
and we're just waiting on the steel, a reactor, and then we'll get down, I think, a solar panel, and maybe even just another reactor. Maybe we just go for 4 reactors right now. We've got the water income for it, that's for sure. That will give it, well, until that happened, but you got my point. We'll have the water income for it later. We'll go ahead and sell water now. Go ahead and get that last reactor down. This should be pretty darn good money from these, especially because our reactors are actually acting like we've engineering labbed them up, so that should be quite effective. Where did that nuke go? Up onto my 2 stack of iron. That is unfortunate, but not the end of the world. I can even consider turning those off, honestly, and it might be okay. We'll go ahead and grab a little more water just to be on the safe side. Whoa! No, I meant to throw down more power, and now I got mutinied. Well, let's fix that. Let's go ahead and push for the upgrade. Actually, no. We'll buy a leisure building. That keeps the colony growing. Stick to the game plan. Now we'll sell off this stuff. Repair. Buy into the shortage. Turn off this mine. Turn off both mines. Fuel's just too expensive. There we go. And we'll get some farms down when we upgrade again. Unfortunately, black market available this time. We can't be crazy aggressive with all of our building placement, but we can do some silly things. Okay. Cam short's over.
Worker
Upgrade.
morale is at an all-time high, thanks to
On
the
into the food.
infrastructure boost you
Of course.
approved.
We knew that was
We'll
coming.
be
It was
able
just
to
kind of a
ship
matter
more
of time.
industries off Earth in no
And we'll go
time.
ahead and put our food down right next to our power. This also kind of lets us connect up our water, which is nice, and we'll just have to be careful. Whoa. And we got nuked in our water. I was really hoping to avoid that. Thankfully, we have slant drilling, which helps compensate in that area as one of our perks, if I remember correctly. So we're not dead in the water, as it were. But that shortage definitely is not something we wanted to have happen. Let's grab a goon squad. Pirates are pretty good. Little goon there. Put water down here, and I think we'll be more aggressive about goon squatting this time than we have been in the past.
Pirates.
Thank you, pirates.
I hate
Appreciate
those filthy
it.
bandits.
Reactors are still making money, just not much. Really would like to get some more water pumps down, which means going ahead and
With each
upgrading.
new citizen, our
One last
domination
time.
grows.
Moving into these water pumps. We can go with those two. We might have enough for that. And we'll just probably commit everything we have into purchasing goon squads for a while, and maybe even just straight up hacking water. The reactors can get turned off by now. Aluminum shortage is fine. Should be able to make some good use of that. Buy a leisure building. Everything needs to keep growing. Alright. That's a reasonable price for all that to have gone up to, I think. I have to think about what I can do with the reactors. Like, what buildings do I actually have access to? I can put down a glass engineer, but it's not very good. Same with electronics. I can put those down, but they're not particularly good. On the other hand, they're still better than complete dead space. Another option is to just scrap all of them and move on into a bunch of power. Throw down a couple silicon just to make sure I have it. Buy up another house just because it's fairly cheap at the moment. And then buy up a couple leisure buildings because those are fairly important. Turn off the steel. Let's go ahead and turn back on our metal mines. Make sure those are functioning just fine. And just keep on keeping on with what we need to keep on with. I know that was particularly descriptive. You're very, very welcome for it. But you get my point. We are making a surplus of 8 water a second, so we really want to push this colony as hard as we can right now. And we also want to make sure we are making plenty of food to keep the food price down so the colony can keep growing and keep getting us money. So we might even want to scrap out of one of these solar panels before too long. Silicon's doing quite nicely for us, which is good. We can potentially move into glass furnaces after we've fixed up this silicon situation. One claim left that I'm not entirely sure what to do with. I already have a hacker array down. I can choose what I want to hack fairly aggressively. I'm really tempted just to start shorting water everywhere. The reactors would obviously be nice to have down, but frankly the power is doing a better job paying off our debt, which we do want to do eventually, just to be on the safe side. If we keep paying down debt, we'll be good. Oh, maybe instead of water. Let's just do silicon. Does anybody else have silicon coming in? I don't think so. It's fairly simple short. Fairly good way to just turn a bunch of money into a bunch more money, so why not? Won't even worry about the colony anytime soon. We'll just buy up a little bit more of it. There, that'll do. It's all the colony I really want to worry about right now. Ooh. Go ahead and buy into this oxygen short. That's alright. And I really need to get a goon squad down right here. This is a very important tile long term, potentially, if I can manage to do with water what I want to. So we're going to sell out of this oxygen short right about now. Grab the goon squad, defend it there, and put everything else that we make for a while into this silicon short we know is coming. After that, maybe it'll just be a chem short to keep turning money into more money, and we'll just keep buying into the colony as we need to in order to make sure it continues to grow. Oxygen's actually too expensive right now, so let's go ahead and get some reactors down. Go ahead and spend that last tile on a reactor. Could maybe change these solar panels around later, but they aren't hurting anyone right now. One of the advantages to having power as kind of your extra building is it doesn't consume anything. So it's at least not causing you too many problems, right? Sell out of the silicon, buy into the electronics short. I was a little late to that, unfortunately. Didn't notice it was happening. Back on into the silicon shortage.
Expansive colony expanded.
And from now, I guess we can just hack fuel. Fuel should be good. Fuel's a good hack because we're making a bunch of fuel with reactors. Well, we were. Our hacker array's frozen out too, so I don't even have to worry about it all that much. Anyway, we're making a bunch of fuel with our reactors, right? But driving that price up doesn't damage the colony's growth, which is one of the big factors in our play, is just making sure the colony keeps growing. Making sure it keeps consuming. Let's go ahead and drive that consumption up on water. We have a lot more water than we need right now, so even though we've got these shorts running, it'll be a while before the next one because we got frozen out. Yep. They went for that EMP. Go ahead and regoon, just to be on the safe side. And let's see, this I think can all turn into steel mills fairly safely. Or glass furnaces. Glass furnaces sound nicer. Mutiny on my water pump, not too concerned about that. Can see water still staying high. More leisure. I would love to be making oxygen right now, but obviously I got black marketed, and well, that's just what it is. Not much to do about it. Unfortunately, the AI sometimes provides a bit of competition, like it's relatively competent, knows what it's doing. Other times it just kind of falls flat on its face, and this definitely looks like a flat on its face game. The glass, not very good, obviously. It's producing at half effectiveness, half efficiency, as I only have that one engineer. But it's better than nothing. So, just do what we can with what we got. Let's see. Still going to be a long time before we get that hack coming in. Go ahead and sell off water. There, it's at $1 now. Nope,
The
that's
black market is online.
Yeah, we could buy a house. I think that's okay.
We're not
EMP.
surprised,
Oh, wow.
just
Defended.
disappointed in you.
Alright, never mind then. I want to go ahead and goon squad. Ah! That tile, I want a goon squad. Ugh. That's frustrating, actually. That's really annoying. Fine. And what we'll do then, if we can't keep our reactors online, we'll build more reactors. Don't even care.
We caught a dirty rat trying to break
Obviously,
our
steel's
stuff.
getting a bit expensive, but hopefully we can move that around later. Still protecting our stuff from all this black market coming down. Some of it will land eventually. We're just hoping we got a good enough lead by then it won't matter.
Expansive colony expanded.
And let's just keep trying to grow this colony. All right, shortage on aluminum. That's fine. We already have a lot of aluminum. Can't really do too much more with it than what we already have. Steel would be nice, but these reactors are still so good that I'm not too worried about it. Go ahead and sell that down. Buy up a leisure facility. Housing. I see no reason to stop any of this ever. Just this plan. If it works and if it keeps working. Obviously, water hasn't gone totally nuts this game, right?
We're not surprised.
Oh, wow.
Just
I
disappointed.
keep actually
Black
legitimately
market
defending
is
their
online.
tiles. Computers used to be so bad at that, it seems like, and now they actually do a lot better job. Well, his reactors stayed online quite effectively this game. There. Finally got something knocked out. So these we might actually just transition into steel mills once we can. Okay. Another leisure building. Since somebody managed to actually buy a house at some point, besides me. And maybe just another leisure building after that. And then everything else goes into doing things like paying down debt and actually abusing our shortage, which will happen eventually. Glass
We caught a
shortage.
dirty rat trying to break our stuff.
Okay, we can use that, kind of. Not too well, but a little bit. And we probably want to go ahead and scrap out of food. I keep forgetting that my food production isn't quite up to par. So I can't just do the mental math super fast like I'm used to in a multiplayer game. So we'll get out of that food in a moment, just moving into glass or steel. Let's see. +6. Yeah, we'll do steel.
We caught a dirty rat trying to break our stuff.
Yep. They keep trying to break our stuff. We keep defending it. That's pretty standard. What am I hacking? Am I still hacking fuel? I don't even want to hack fuel anymore.
Expansive colony
I
expanded.
guess we can repair it. Steel's coming online. The reactors are doing okay. Some of them could move into glass furnaces fairly easily, I think, as they're starting to make not so much money. Foods jumped up immediately as I scrapped out of it for whatever reason. That's interesting. Didn't think I was selling that much food, although I guess food consumption is pretty solid. So maybe we'll scrap some of these and just put them into food instead. Power's doing well. Obviously, we're not too worried about power. I guess we've been sitting on one claim this whole time. We can just dump that into power. Did I get no, I got rewarded a claim is what happened. That still happened. I guess that's okay in campaign. I hate it in multiplayer, but in campaign I can kind of live with it most of the time. Water surplus means let's turn these reactors back on. Fuel shortage is coming in. We'll go ahead and buy into that quite nicely. Look at this food consumption. This is insane how high food has gone this game. EMP, that hurts. Not much to do about it, besides having preemptively purchased a goon squad, which frankly is so ridiculously expensive for how many we've already bought. Well, anyway, it's expensive. Look, that's my point. It's pretty darn expensive. Power being frozen out actually really hurts because I would love to be paying down my debt right now. And I guess I can just do it on my own, right? But it's still not as nice as I would like. Okay, food's doing well. Water's doing well.
Our hackers have compromised the trading service.
We could even potentially do something like mutiny that water, which is really good. All the resources finally doing what we've been trying to make them do for a while. But, you know, it succeeded. We got it done, right? We bought up the buildings we needed to. It's doing what we want it to right now. We're making a ridiculous amount of money. We can keep buying into the colony. The colony's still not going to manage to grow all the way up to that 17. Looks like it's going to cap out at about 14. We could even start surplusing food to try and help it grow faster, but I don't know if that's going to happen. And that's kind of a downside to this general game plan. This idea of, well, let's just grow the colony as fast as we can. Then it starts consuming a ridiculous number of resources, and you can't actually keep up, right? You can't actually sell enough of these resources to keep the colony growing. It's going to get stuck on 14 this game, which it would be nice if it went just a little higher. All right, let's buy up that last little bit of colony stock to make sure we've got our fair share, pay down as much debt as we can.
Black market is online.
And we'll just sit here and wait. The game is just about over. That hack should have never happened, unfortunately, but you know what? We got it done. 14 population. Not too bad. Not too bad, especially considering our opponents kept attacking our, necessary resources. So I'll take it. I'll take the nice clean win. Auto sold power, auto purchase power. Yeah, it was fairly simple, guys. We're sticking to the game plan as Expansive. Obviously, it plays out a little bit different each time as our opponents do slightly different things, but the general plan is fairly obvious and works fairly well. Well, I think that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this one. Not too much more to look at for this screen. So thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you next time.